In this video, I'm going to show how to tint paste wax for application on wood countertops and any other kind of darker finish where you don't want the wax to jump out at you and be noticeable. This is clear wax, and it also comes in amber, which is kind of an orangey pigment and doesn't really work for what I want to use it for. So I want the wax to kind of blend in with the wood tones, so I'm going for a more neutral color. So I'm going to add a dry pigment to the paste wax. So I'm going to show how to heat the paste wax up using a hot plate and how to mix it with the dry pigment so that you get a nice even blend. And I'm also going to provide a few tips about applying the wax and what you need to know about rags. Okay, so now the wax is heated up evenly and mixed with the dry pigment. So now I have to wait for it to cool down, and I have to periodically mix it as it cools so that the dry pigment doesn't separate back out of the solution. Now this is optional, but I'm going to place the can in a bucket of cold water just to suck a little bit of heat out of the system, and that shaves about 20 minutes off of this time to wait for it to cool down. So I'm just going to leave it in there for about 60 seconds because the water takes a lot of heat out and it'll start to solidify right away. So just a minute will save about 20 minutes here, and then every 10 minutes I'll come back and mix up the wax again. And if I forget to do this, the pigment will settle on the bottom and re-solidify, and you won't get an even color distribution, and you might have chunks of pigment that come up. In the case that happens, I have to heat up the solution again and start over. So it's important to do it every 10 minutes, and when it reaches that critical state where it just becomes kind of jellified, you can still mix it evenly, but the pigment won't settle out because there's no liquid. It's just turned into a gel. And at that point, it will solidify and retain its homogeneous pigmentation. Okay, I just want to make a quick comment about rags, because you need to find a good rag for applying wax, and sometimes it's hard to find a good rag, and you need to be able to know the difference. So here's a box of rags that I bought on sale. They're called Painter's Pals, and I thought it was a good deal at the time. I actually ended up buying 2 of these boxes, and it says it's great for staining, waxing, polishing, hundreds of other uses. But let's take a look at these and see what this is really about. And you're going to notice that that these rags are really just a bunch of cut up t-shirts, and this is commonly what you're going to find. Very clever way of repurposing and reusing material. This looks like it's a pillowcase. But you see a variety of different things here. It doesn't even smell like these are clean. These are just things that came from the dollar store. It's like this thing right here. It's got buttons on it. I mean, what's this going to be good for? It's kind of a joke. These are like rags for mice, But the point is, the reason why none of these rags are going to work for applying wax is because of all of these buttons and seams are going to leave streaks. You don't want anything that's going to stick out on the rag and drag the wax around. So you need to have a nice soft cloth that doesn't have any of these stitches or seams on it. Okay? But I'm just showing you this so that you know what to look out for and when to buy, when to justify the premium price for a wiping rag. Okay? So wiping rags are good for polishing, applying wax, and staining and that kind of thing. And these Painter's Pals are good for cleaning up messes. Okay, so I paid $18 for this bag of wiping rags, which is the most I've ever paid for 4 pounds of rags. But when you look at them, you'll see that it's one large piece of virgin fabric. It's not been used for anything before, and there are no stitches, there are no seams, and it's a nice material to work with. And it all looks like it's the same material too, so that's important. So I know I can get a consistent rag out of this bag. And this is going to be for the final top coat, so the top coat is really important. It has to look good. So it doesn't matter how much these rags cost, they are required. Oh, this one's nice. It's got some lace on it. Staples. That's nice. It's kind of silly. But I think I paid the same price for that box as this bag, thinking that you're going to get more in the box, but really it's not very useful. So, quick tip for today. So, if you're applying paste wax, you need to know that you need to get a quality soft wiping cloth and not the cheap mouse rags that you commonly find that are cut up garments.
product.